Okay. All right. So welcome. We've already done our breathing for today. We've talked a little bit about the full moon. And thank you to all of those that are holding sacred space with me this morning live. It means so much to me to have you here. And for those of you listening later, I love knowing how you are doing. And so, of course, always send me notes or post comments. We're going to start today with this curious energy, this alive energy, this way of really being mindfully aware under this full moon of how we want to direct our energy. So I have so many cards, right? And I just listened to who's calling. So this morning, the inner child cards were calling. So we're going to start with the inner child tarot cards. This is by Isha Lerner. I love these cards. They're big cards. And we're going to start with an anchor card from this deck. Perhaps my inner child is wanting to have a little more attention. Perhaps yours. And the anchor card for the collective read is here. Oh, there's two. Okay, we get two cards. All right, the first one is the Six of Crystals, which for those of you that are familiar with the tarot, that would be pentacles or discs. Six of Crystals. We've got a team of people moving up the mountain. There's a pinnacle there. Nice big snowflake. For some of us, this is kind of the season we are entering into. For some of you, not so much. But here we are with this as one of our anchor cards for today. And the other anchor card is another crystals, which happens to be, again, like I said, pentacles or discs. This is the Ace of Crystals. And having the Ace of Crystals here, that feels very grounding to me. It also feels very alive, very awake. So as we use these cards, remember my thoughts as we move into this today. How do you feel when you see these? What are you noticing? What jumps out at you? You don't need to know the traditional meaning, although I think it's helpful and fun. But I do think that having an opportunity to just see, what is this? How does this speak to you? No right or wrong. How does this one speak to you? They are little gnomes. And, you know, inner child cards have a different feel to them. And you can translate them, work with them however you want to. And I will, in the follow-up email, I will definitely send more information about those cards. So again, as we're in the full moon, the Gemini full moon, being curious, right? Being curious. How does this energy of the Six of Crystals or Pentacles or discs, how does that affect me? What am I noticing? What am I feeling? Okay. 6 is a really powerful number. Very often we associate it with vision. We often associate it with love as well. The 6 carries with it a vibration of really listening to others and really, again, supporting others on the path. And you can kind of see that there is someone who's reached the pinnacle, but there are others there cheering that gnome on, which is kind of cool. I'm just realizing I never see female gnomes in these cards. I'll have to check. They all have beards. I mean, I guess they could be female. But anyway, unusual. Just saw that. I've had these cards for a billion years, but gnomes. Okay. So as we move into this next series of cards, what I'm hoping is we can take this grounded energy, this crystal energy. And it's interesting today, by the way, I just wanted to share with you, I have this crystal with me. I don't know if you can see this, probably not. This crystal with me today. I'm not sure. I qualified as a crystal. I think maybe. I think it's black tourmaline. If anybody knows for sure, feel free to drop that in the chat. But it just felt like I needed this today. Very grounded. Okay. All right, our next card for today for the collective read is the Eight of Cups. And again, super important. What do you feel? What do you notice? Let me see if I can get it focused. What do you feel? What do you notice? If you put yourself in this card, what arises within you? Sometimes we might notice a color, an image, but usually for me, there's a feeling that's evoked, and it's different every time. Feels very appropriate for today, particularly as we move into these latter stages of Pluto and Capricorn. Feels very, very, very supportive of this journey that we're all on together. But again, what's important is for you to connect with it for yourself. You know, as a collective, you know, obviously we are needing to release and walk towards our future, let go of the past. What are we taking with us? What are we leaving behind? We have the good, strong anchor cards in place, and I'm going to pull the next of the collective cards for all of us today. I'm so glad all of you are here. This is so fun. And look, perfect. I know this isn't for me, but this is definitely a I'm so glad you're all here card. So there we go. There we go. Get that into focus. Three of Cups. And again, what does this evoke in you? What arises within you? Is there a message that you're receiving? Chris Ann does a great job with these illustrations. I think she really evokes the essence of the card. You know, when learning tarot, I think that's probably the most important thing is, you know, what are you sensing, feeling? And then you can go deeper into the more traditional meanings and use those for journal prompts and deepening into the knowledge of, you know, what your soul is trying to share with you. So when I do these reads, I'm going to pull one more card. What I'm doing is I'm asking our collective teams and guides to support us by helping me pull cards that will speak to us and give us some guidance for the week. Oh, okay. That one fell right out. Okay. This is very much a Gemini full moon card. Hilarious. Okay. So, Page of Swords. It's definitely a Gemini full moon card. And, you know, it's an interesting one. There's lots of elements to this card. So choose a few that are speaking to you, calling to you. Allow yourself to really connect with the energy of this card. So powerful. Now, it's a good thing we started with grounded cards. This one's particularly grounded. She is definitely far off the ground in this card. So let's just review. We have the Six of Crystals. We have the Ace of Crystals. These are very grounded, very secure. Remember the earth, remember the goodness, remember the treasures, you know, surfacing. Eight of Cups. What is it that you're walking toward? I don't want to put too much more into that. I want you to have your moment to just really reconnect with what it is this card is for you. Three of Cups. And this beautiful Page of Swords. So as we move through the week, one of the things I like to do, and I'll do my best to get this out today, is just to kind of go back and look at the cards throughout the week. I have them here, it's easier, but in the email, you'll have a picture of the cards. And just ask myself, where am I on during this week? Which card is speaking to me right now? And so I'll just share with you that I think the card that is speaking most to me right now, I think it's actually our first card. And one of the things that I'm just aware of is the trek up the mountain. We all have individual mountains. We all have this collective mountain that we are climbing together. These gnomes look super happy. They don't look tired. They don't look depleted. They're reaching a particular peak that is important for them. And you'll notice that there's a lot of peaks in the background as well. So it's not the only peak. It's just one of them. And this is what's speaking to me right now. Just again, we work very hard and not just, I'm not just talking about physical work or mental work. I'm talking about soul work. And this soul work it's important to have companions on the journey. That's kind of how I'm reading that today. So this particular card usually means success. It usually means that things are going in the right direction. I'd like that to be some energy that we take forward with us into the week, that as we look at all that is going on around us, we take that moment to really honor where we have reached pinnacles, where we are trekking up the mountain. And, the beauty of the earth, again, from this card, we receive so much. So how are we honoring that? And then the rest of the cards really speak to that deeper cycle of letting go, opening up to what's new, and discovering some new things as we move forward in the week. Makes sense with this being the Gemini full moon. We really are here to deepen into the learning. I know I've been working hard on the booklets for this weekend's workshop, and I can't stop writing. It must be the Gemini moon. I can't stop writing. So I'm going to try to highlight, for those of you that are signed up, I'm going to try to highlight the essence of them. But the energy of next year is definitely flowing through the writing. And I guess I want to just give you a little preview, since that's the energy I'm in right now after doing so much writing this weekend. One of the things that I think will serve us very, very well is to stay curious. So on this Gemini full moon, what does it mean to be curious? What does it mean to ask questions? And, there's a lot out there about how to ask a question. I don't know about you, but I remember as a child, my parents being completely exasperated by the fact that I was always asking questions, always. And I don't know if that's true of all children or if it's just true of all of us here right now, but I just wanted to know more. I wanted to learn more. And I think that if we can hold a space for learning all the time, being students all the time, I think we would be in a much better place globally. It's not that some of us don't have things to teach. Of course, teaching and learning go hand in hand. I just feel like the asking of the question, how to ask that question so that we can learn more, right? Sometimes we have to ask yes or no questions, and that's okay. But, really deepening into the question. Yeah. It's all kids. Okay, great. Okay, well, it's good to know. I love that about kids. Yeah, exactly. Right? How else do they? Right. I know, right? So yeah, that's true. These days, there are ways to get answers that we didn't have before, right? So, but the idea is to just stay in the question and be in the inquiry, to be curious, to open our minds. And that is that's the light side. I don't mean light like superficial, but the light meaning the light of the Gemini full moon as opposed to the shadow. So is to, really deepen and continue to open. I will say, so speaking of shadow stuff, the shadow side of the Gemini full moon is that people stay superficial. That's a shadow side of Gemini. I have Venus in Gemini. So, if I read, there are a bazillion astrology sites out there. But if I read anything about Venus in Gemini, a lot of times I do have to face my shadow. It's like, ooh, superficial, don't want to go deep. I know, well, we're very similar in that way. And we're not superficial, I don't think personally, us Venus and Gemini people. I think we're very curious though. And I think we ask a lot of questions and we do want to know, and we want to keep that dialogue open. So the shadow side is to not pay attention. The shadow side is to not be mindful. The shadow side is to not be curious. Just take something at face value. The worst of the shadow is deception, right? To weave a fabrication that someone else might believe. So the shadow is important, particularly on the full moon, because the full moon illuminates shadows at night. So if there's anything that needs healing, I would say globally, there's plenty that needs healing. But if there's anything that needs healing within each of us, we could be looking at that today and asking, how could I be more aware? How can I be more mindful? How can I be more truthful? How can I be more honest? And that inquiry into self-honesty, not always easy, just so you know. That's where this is what I think happens. When we dream at night, if we can remember our dreams, that's when we're probing into some of the darker things, at least in my dreams. My dreams are not light at all. And I generally wake up and I'm just kind of like, wow, it's going to take me 2 hours to come back from that ride. And it is an interesting thing to be in the Neptune and Pisces era, where we have so much going on in our dream world. So again, these are things that I'm writing about for the workshop. So, they're all on my mind right now. So I thought I'd share in spirit of Gemini with my Venus and Gemini. All right. So today is going to be shorter. I think you will like what's coming for December. I've got some great guests lined up, and Kathy Price and Christine Dixon are still planning to be here next Monday to talk about Bali and all kinds of fun things we're going to explore together. And then the next week, I have a children's book author who I've invited on because I really want her to talk about the creative process and how things that are really meaningful from our heart bring us into a greater alignment with our purpose. And then Jenna Monaco Schaefer from Santa Cruz Mountain Reiki will be here again, and we're going to talk about our Tea and Tarot Wheel of the Year workshop that's coming up in January. And then I am going to take Christmas off, just so you know. But New Year's Day, I think I want to do a New Year's Day thing just to welcome everybody in. So that's exciting. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop the recording. This will be the shortest recording ever. I'm going to stop the recording and do the raffle because we need to start the week with something fun. I think this is Gemini full moon approved. So you're welcome. All right. Let me stop.